The Disney Pixar Cars franchise has been incredibly influential on the lives of many ever since it began nearly 20 years ago. The series has produced quite a few hours of content, including the theatrically released trilogy, as well as a ton of Cars tunes, and most recently Cars on the Road, a Disney Plus series of shorts. The franchise has only garnered more followers as years have gone by, with more eagerly anticipating the next entry in the franchise. And based on a lot of quotes from the people at Pixar and some of the actors in the franchise, it seemed like something was on the horizon. With the way social media goes, a lot of misleading posts popped up implying a Cars 4 was confirmed. And I feel like many saw this in passing and just assumed that's real life, and another sequel in Pixar's vast collection of upcoming franchise films. I was actually in the process of making a video about this phenomenon in online reporting, which you may think I'm guilty of with my rumored Ratatouille 2 video. But we got an announcement that caught quite a few people off guard. Cars will be returning in 2027, not through a feature film but with a series. And unlike what we've seen to this point, this is coming to Disney Junior, but it's actually in collaboration with Pixar in Cars Lightning Racers. We've received quite a bit of info. We have a synopsis, some returning and original characters, and their voice performers confirmed, which is a lot considering how far we're out from release. But this is a very new type of project to be released under what is technically the Pixar umbrella, so I'm going to attempt to cover all the information we get up until release. And based on that Disney Junior Association, off-rip, many Cars fans are apprehensive to say the least. While the Cars franchise has tended to skew a tad bit younger than a lot of Pixar's other properties, the content we've seen, especially in the films I'd say, have targeted all audiences. There's really something there for everybody in each film, I do truly believe that. The first Cars especially has a lot of dialogue some may deem risque, but throughout the series we see some meaningful messages explored with a lot of concepts that older viewers may find themselves relating to a lot more than even the younger ones. Beyond that though, the kinetic energy brought together through top-notch Pixar animation and these vehicles traveling 200 plus miles per hour has rightfully engaged viewers through the many mediums the series has existed in. There is some earned concern that this new series being put where it is may drive away lifelong fans of the franchise and insist on garnering new fans that may not even be born at the time of me writing this. On the other end of the spectrum, Pixar is involved with this series, which is more than what we got with Monsters at Work. And perhaps this is going to Disney Junior because this is a suitable brand for all ages, including the youngest of viewers. The entire Cars trilogy was rated G after all, even with all that violence in Cars 2. Cars on the Road, while initially releasing on Disney Plus, did eventually make it to air on Disney Junior, which, at least for me, makes me a little bit less worried about this tonally, since I think going with little slice-of-life adventures like that wouldn't really take away from the feature films. Also, while I haven't seen it and I know it's not made by Disney TVA, I know a lot of people enjoy Bluey. So maybe it can capture a similar all-ages audience interest, and with Pixar's involvement, they hopefully aren't just pawning off this franchise, and they actually put care and effort into this project for those of us that care what direction it takes. I'm sure Jay Ward is involved, and I know he cares about this franchise at the very least. From the production team, we don't have any Pixar alum as of yet, though it is still early days, though as mentioned with the voice actors, we have some names that I'm sure many are glad to hear. Owen Wilson and Larry the Cable Guy are back, of course, as Lightning McQueen and Mater. While Wilson went some time not doing the voice of Lightning and things like this, I'm very glad to see him continuing to take full ownership over this character. Not that Keith Ferguson was awful, it's just Owen Wilson is Lightning McQueen. We also know that Tony Shalhoub as Luigi, Cheech Marin as Ramon, and John Ratzenberger as Mac are all returning, and Bob Peterson returns as Chick Hicks after playing him in Cars 3 and theme park appearances. Collider, who I believe first reported on this series, gave a little blurb that states the series will follow Lightning McQueen as he takes on fresh challenges and races around Radiator Springs alongside his old pal Mater and two new characters, thrill-seeking drag car Pipes and a mud-loving monster truck named Miles. The show promises the same playful energy and friendship-first storytelling that made the franchise a hit with kids and parents alike. So it seems like this series will be pulling a lot from the first Cars. We're getting racing and Radiator Springs. The snippet mentions a new racer, Pipes, who will be voiced by Leah Lewis, who voiced Ember in Elemental. The monster truck Miles will be voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, and we know of another new character named Miss Blinker, voiced by Cheryl Lee Ralph. While that blurb didn't bring up any of the returning favorites, the series taking place in Radiator Springs is kind of an indicator that they'll pop up here and there. I wouldn't expect any more returning casts beyond anyone listed. I feel like they already would have announced it. I'm sure some will be recast, at least for the show here, but you never know. If the series sees multiple seasons, more returning casts might pop back up. That's all dependent on how popular this is, and come on, this is going to be massive. I think a comparable series is that Disney Junior Spider-Man show. There's already 4 seasons of that, and recently a new Iron Man show in the same universe. This Cars series may not get spin-offs, but I can see it leading to more Pixar IP being adapted at this junior level, and it's something I'm pretty conflicted about. I of course believe the best way to experience these properties is to watch the films, obviously. And I feel as though they could just continue to advertise off of those for Disney Plus and continue to air them on their broadcasting stations, though this series isn't really a replacement of the franchise. It will offer a tremendous amount of merchandising opportunities, which the Cars franchise has, even without any projects in the last few years. But it is really weird for me to see this franchise take this direction, though again, we'll have to see how it turns out. We don't even know how this will look from a visual standpoint. Even though Pixar's involved, I wouldn't expect them to be animating this, so it'll probably have a similar 3D animation style to the other Disney Junior shows. But it could also have a tad bit higher quality and be more in line with Monsters at Work, though there is an image going around with 2D sprites of these characters next to their actors, which I would honestly prefer, as it would at least separate this project from what we've seen in the past. From a short-term quick profit and engagement base, this is a good idea that again will likely find the success to last for quite a few years. Though as somebody who has been consistently looking at the value of Pixar IP throughout various mediums, I have genuine concern that this will drive away the core fanbase, those of which the films have cultivated over the last 2 decades in favor of children that won't stick around in their place. For me, the original films will always hold a special place in my heart. My Cars 3 video basically kickstarted my channel, but plenty of people will likely feel different, that their IP is now deemed as for such a young audience. And it's different from, say, Spider-Man, who I mentioned earlier, because there is an overwhelming amount of content on that front, while Cars is so few and far between. Is this the end of the Cars franchise beyond Disney Junior? To my knowledge, no, but that doesn't mean Cars 4, and that doesn't mean projects haven't been shifted around or even canceled. I believe we'll still see the occasional short film either on Disney Plus, or they could maybe make them pre-feature content. From what I've heard, this is still on the table. Hopefully we'll hear something soon. I said this a while back, but even though Cars 3 didn't do the best at the box office, I feel this franchise will still see another theatrical entry. But it's still way too soon, and it'll probably get some sort of soft reboot eventually. But projects like Cars Lightning Racers do just shift around what this franchise is in our cultural zeitgeist, making another theatrical entry less likely. With how vocal I know the Cars fanbase is, I'd love to see some discussion about this down below. Personally, I'm not that excited for what I think this will end up being. I'll at least watch a few episodes, but if it isn't for me, I think I'll know. And that is weird considering how I've enjoyed everything that Cars has given us this far. And I enjoyed Cars on the Road. I know a whole lot of Cars fans absolutely hated that. I just feel like we're veering too off-road with this new project. But maybe these showrunners are going to know exactly what everybody wants to see. Hopefully that is the case, and who knows, maybe on Disney and Pixar's end, this is what they need to see another 2 decades of this franchise, for better or for worse. That does it for the video today. Let me know what you all think, and before I close out, I really want to thank you all for 1,000 subscribers. That's a big number. It means a whole lot to me, and I'm glad so many of you are connecting with some of my content. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.